Hey guys, welcome to QuickBooks Made Easy's Quick Tips for February of 2018. I am your fearless leader, Greg Bosson, although I'm not that fearless actually, if the truth be told. None of us really are. We all feel fear. But the important thing is to just be strong and fight through the fear and do what you need to do anyway. You'll get further in this life, but whatever. All right, so I'm also probably not your leader, although maybe I should be. I don't know. I'm feeling very inspirational today. But anyway, so what we're going to talk about in February 2018's little quick tip. This is a little e-newsletter, by the way, that you can get sent to you once a month. And if you like this, then just sign up for it and we'll send it to you every month. And this month we're going to talk about closing the books. So in QuickBooks, there's not really a closing the books thing that you have to do. In other packages, accounting packages, certainly in the past, in the older years, and then also with more expensive packages, you have to close the books, which is this big thing you have to do at the end of each month or end of each year or whatever, where you kind of do this thing and it creates a separate file for every year and all this kind of stuff in your computer. You don't have to do any of that. In QuickBooks, everything's all kind of together, all in one. So it's not like you have to do a closing of the books per se. Now, I will tell you, though, that there's something that I would advise for you to do, certainly at the end of every fiscal year at a minimum, but some people do it every month, and that is setting a closing date. It's really what you're doing. I'm going to show you where it is, and then I'll show you what it is and why you'd want to do it. So to set a closing date, what you do is you go over to this gear thing. And I guess I should start by telling you what it is. When you set a closing date, it basically puts a lock on all of your transactions on or before the date you set to prevent people from changing them. It's pretty obvious why you'd want to do it, right? But let me just show you where it is. So I'm going to go to the gear, and then I'm going to go to Account and Settings. And this is where all of your preferences or little features are that you can turn on or off in your QuickBooks Online file. But I'll go ahead and click it. And there's so many different features or preferences that they're kind of broken up into different categories, and the categories are listed in this column on the left. But I'm going to go over here to Advanced, and in Advanced, under Accounting, you will see as soon as it pops up, let me refresh, there it is, right here under the Accounting section, Closing the Books. It's called close the books, but what you're really doing is you're setting a closing date. So right now it's off. So in order to set a closing date, I'm going to go ahead and click this, and then you check this little box here. Now, again, what you're doing, I'm going to click the box here. What you're doing is you are putting in a date in this field, and on or before that date, you won't be able to add anything, to edit anything, to change anything. It kind of locks the books down on or before that date. Not just to the beginning of the year, but to the beginning of time. Okay, it's all the way from the date to the beginning of time. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, it's February right now. Say your year end is December 31. You've got everything reconciled through the end of the year. You're ready to give it to somebody to do a tax return. And it's kind of like, I know the books are right. Everything's reconciled. I don't want to screw with them. I don't want anybody else to screw with them. I don't want to change anything on or before that date. That's what you do this for. So I'm going to put 12/31/17. And now anybody who tries to change something on or before that date, all the way, not just through 1/1/17, but way back 16, 15, 14, the beginning of time, won't be able to change anything, because that stuff is done. It's locked down. Now, you might be freaking out, go, wait a second, what if I do want to change something later on? You can still change stuff, okay? It's a lock, but you have the key, okay? You can still change stuff. You're just going to either get a warning or have to do a password before you can actually make the change. So it puts the brakes on, I guess. Before you make a change, you got to think about what you're doing. So over here, allow changes after viewing a warning. That means if you do something on or before that date, you'll just get a warning. I like to go through the extra special step of entering a password. And then I'm going to put my password here. This is very different from the password. Make it a little bit harder than that. This is a different password than the password that you use to just get into QuickBooks. There we go. Make it whatever you want it to be. So then I'm going to click Save. Now, what that means is anything on or before that date, all the way through the beginning of time, if I go to change something or add something or delete something, I'll get a warning and I'm going to be forced to put a password in. So let me just show you how that works. So I'm going to go to my chart of accounts list and see if I can just find a transaction here. Go to the register and scroll down here, and I'll just pick something. So here we go. So here's a transaction. This isn't even in 17. This is in 16. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit it. And maybe this isn't you that would do this. Maybe it's somebody else that gets in the books. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change something about it. Maybe I'll change where it's pointed to, or I'll change the dollar amount. I'll just change where it's pointed to. Now, when I click Save, here's the warning that you get. This transaction is prior to the company's closing date. This will affect your accounting. You sure you want to do this? Now, see, if you didn't enter a password, you could just override the warning, but we have to enter a password. So it's kind of like an extra special thing. It'll make you stop and think before you do what you're about to do. Okay? So you can put the password in and you can still change it. And that may happen, and then later on your accountant gets mad at you because you shouldn't have changed it. And if that happens, it'd be kind of nice to be able to see a list of transactions that somebody changed, added, deleted, or whatever on or before the closing date. Because you can still change it. So to see anything that somebody overrode that warning and went ahead and changed it, you click Reports, and you make sure this says All Reports. And then down here we want to go to All Reports. And these are the different categories of your reports. And you want to go down to Accountant Reports. And then you will see something called Exceptions to Closing Date. I'm going to go ahead and run this report. And it's going to show me any transaction that I have changed or deleted on or before the closing date. And this is actually the same transaction. I've just kind of changed it a bunch of times as I've been playing with this thing. I think here's our last change right here. And you can see all the various changes that I've made. And what it does is it shows me what it used to be. And then it's kind of highlighted in pink. It shows that I changed the account. Okay. But it'll show all kinds of things. At an earlier time, I had changed the transaction dollar amount, so it showed that too. So it'll show all kinds of things. And that'll help you when you're trying to figure out why your books don't match a prior year even after you set the closing date. It means that you overrode that warning and put the password in. And I'll just end by saying, again, this is a lock, but you have the key. I can go in here to Accountant Settings, and I can change the closing date whenever I need to by just going over to Advanced, clicking here, and then I can either uncheck it or I can change the date. Maybe it's now time to close it through the month of February, 31, 2018. So it's up to you, okay? That is it. Go ahead and leave this. And if you have questions or you need any help with your QuickBooks, or you want to sign up for the newsletter here, this email newsletter, so it comes to you every month, you get your little video, QuickBooksMadeEasy.com is the place to go. And I will catch you later.